Hi everyone, welcome to the second video in this series from Small Victories by Johanna Basford. We have a butterfly to do today using my Polychromos pencils, maybe yours too. We'll come in a little closer and have a look. Now, quite often with a butterfly, I will ignore all the detailing and just put a bit of splash of colour on there, especially if it's a small one. But because all we're doing is this butterfly, I will try and make it look a little bit more exciting. We're going to start with the little body in the middle. I usually do these in a grey. I'm just trying to have a quick think. I might go for a browner colour. Maybe we'll start with a warm grey and go from there. So this is our warm grey 5, and I'm going to do a little bit with this. So the head, I'm going to try and go a little darker around the edge of the head, and then a bit lighter in the middle, even though I'm using still the same colour, because it will be a sphere, I think. And do a similar thing with the body. Just start, I know I have ignored that little line across the middle there, and this bit down here, the lower bit of the body. One bit's called the thorax, isn't it? Is that right? Or is that just other insects that apply to butterflies? So that is the beginning, but I want to do a little bit more brown on it. Some butterflies have like a brown body which extends into the colour of their wings. I'm going to try and do that. I thought it might be a bit different. So I'm going to use the Van Dyck brown. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to start by putting a little bit here. I don't want too much on those wings, like that. And then put some of that onto the body as well. Make the body look a little browner, just by adding a bit of brown on top of that grey here and there. I'm going to sharpen this pencil because I want it actually really dark in that little bit between the body and the wing. So I'm just trying to get a heavy layer of pencil in there, and then some lighter flecks coming out like that. And we're going to start to add in a sort of orangey colour. I'm going to actually start with she a terracotta. So we're going for a sort of browny orange to start with. I'm just going to sharpen up. Siena might have been. No, we'll try this because we're going on top of this brown and just starting to extend up the wing like that. Now at the moment we're treating both wings as one, but we will put a bit of shadow in, hopefully I'll remember, at the end to show some separation between the two wings. But there we go. There's that bit. Now we're going to actually reach for our oranges. I think I'm going to start with the orange glaze. I always find this is quite a good one. It seems a little bit different to the cadmium oranges. It's got a little bit less of a reddish fluorescent-y look. So I think it's going to work better here. I'm just going to take it up to there because I haven't decided what I'm doing after this point here. Do the same on the other side, still thinking. Plan on the fly. No, plan on the butterfly. Oh dear. Had a nice walk along the canal today into town. Didn't see any butterflies today. It wasn't I'm just filling in those little gaps so that we can see the fact that this bit's darker, hopefully. I'm just gonna, but I wanted to go all the way up to the line. There. This one's gonna go all the way down to the bottom. No, there were no butterflies because it was cloudy. They like the sunshine. What did I see? I saw loads and loads of what are they called? Little birds, wagtails. They were flying across the canal from one side to the other. Loads. I saw a magpie. I saw a couple of coots. Not much else really today. As I say, the sun wasn't out. You see a lot less. I saw a man with a big camera. I was tempted to ask him if he'd seen anything exciting, but I said hello to him, but I didn't stop and question him. Now what I think I'm going to do with this orange glaze is to fill in these bits. Yeah. But yeah, it was quite quiet. I only walked down a part of it because I was in a bit of a rush. I didn't know how long I'd be out because I had to go to the post office, and sometimes the queue is just manic. I was a little bit later and I hoped that would make it a bit quieter, and it did. I think quite often first thing you have this quite a few local shop owners posting their sort of weekend sales because it's Monday today. This is burnt sienna. I'm going to use it for these bits. You'll see. Yes, so they post out what they sold over the week. It's maybe yesterday when they were closed. Oh, not all shops close on Sunday though here anymore. What I want to try and do is just fade that towards it. My son is, one of them is not here, but the other one is just laughing and laughing. It's lovely. He's obviously watching some sort of video. Yes, so the queue wasn't, there was no queue. By the time I got to I walked in, there was someone on the, you know, in the queuing area. By the time I got there, they were gone and there was an empty counter for me to go to, so that was pretty good. And I just had to pay in a cheque. It seems very old-fashioned. My sister says to me, I never have to pay in cheques. I said, yeah, but it's my birthday a while ago, and my father-in-law sent me a cheque. It's very kind of him. He doesn't do shopping for presents for people. He just sends cheques. People can choose what they want, which is very kind of him. Because I just bought something the other day, so I'll pay for that. So that's lovely. So it's very kind of him. I had already written him a letter to thank him, which went in the post yesterday. I do tend to try and get the letter off before I pay in. Now I want a lighter orange. What's that one? No, that's not. Hang on. I'm going to go for the cadmium orange, and I'm just going to go over the tips and bits of orange where I've missed a little bit and tried to fade and it's not quite worked. So I'm just going to go over all these orangey bits because I can see quite a lot of white even with my eyes, which don't want to work very well sometimes. So I'm just going to gently cover it up like that. I'm being fussy, and yours may look really good without the need to fill like this, but I'm just not quite feeling it, if that makes sense. So just a little bit of additional work can make a big difference. It's like, I know people, some people rework pictures years later, having looked at them and gone, ugh, don't like that. But once I finished, I finished. You know, I like to try and get it to a place where I'm happy, and then I'm done. I don't go back and rework it. It's just not what I do. I guess if I only had one colouring book and I couldn't afford any more, or I didn't like any more, this is black, you know, imagine that, then I probably would go back, and or I might just buy a second. If I couldn't afford one, I would probably go back and rework older pictures. But I'm very fortunate in that not only do people send me their books sometimes, but I've also can afford to buy some myself. Very, very fortunate. Yeah, sometimes people send me their books to review, but also I get gifted books sometimes too, so I'm very lucky. Okay, so we have some black on here now. I'm contemplating whether to extend some of the black markings and make them slightly deeper. I think I will on this zigzag here. I feel like I want that to look really intentionally dark. I don't know why. You can decide whether you think it looks better or not. I just feel like I want that bit darker. Now we have these dots here. I'm going to make these dots really quite pronounced as well. You might feel more comfortable doing this with a pen. It would be a bit easier, to be honest, to get them to look more secure, defined, whatever the word is. I just want them to look a little bit bigger. There we go. Now I'm going to get my white. I've actually got a Posca here. Well, that reminds me, I used it in my last video and I need to list it in the materials used, because I forgot. So we're going to put some white dots down on this black. I always feel that butterflies need some white. If you look at butterflies in the wild, they often have white and black markings. I want to put one here, one here. Don't know if it shows up that well on the orange, but I think I will leave it there. Now that is a made up butterfly. I haven't tried to make it look like a real one. You could do. There are plenty of pictures of butterflies online where you can go and try and copy designs, but Johanna doesn't do that. She tends to do her own thing, and so sometimes that's what I tend to do as well, rather than trying to imagine that it's a tortoiseshell or a peacock or whatever. I just do it my own way, and orange butterflies are something that I do a lot of, but I can colour other colours, you know. Anyway, I am going to go now. Oh, I forgot to do one bit. Do you remember I said that I was going to make the wings look like there was a bit more separation between them? Didn't do it, did I? Let's do it now. I want the dark sepia. Oh, here it is. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit under here on both sides in the hope that it... I'm going to make that line a bit longer down there and a little bit thicker. That's better, I think. I don't know, can you tell? So there we are. I have definitely finished this time. We've got a little cluster of florals tomorrow, which looks very cute. But thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.